Good day to everyone. It's a privilege to be sharing with you all a brief message on the fifth of the seven last words of our Lord Jesus. My name is Pastor Aldrin Penamora, and I am with PCEC's Justice, Peace, and Reconciliation Commission, and also with the Theology Commission. And before we continue, allow me to say a word of prayer. Lord, we thank you for this time, and we thank you, Lord, for what you have done on the cross for us. Panginoon, we know that without you, we are hopeless and we cannot by ourselves be righteous before you. Kaya Panginoon, salamat, Panginoon Jesus. Indeed, because of your love for us, O God, and for all those who would love you, salamat, because we are all assured of an eternal life with you. We praise you. We give you all glory and honor and praise. In Jesus' name. Amen. Now, the fifth of the last words of Jesus on the cross, ayun pong sinabi niya na, I thirst, ako ay nauuhaw. John 19:28-29 says, After this, Jesus, knowing that all things were now accomplished, that the scripture might be fulfilled, said, I thirst. Now, a vessel full of sour wine was sitting there, and they filled a sponge with sour wine, put it on hyssop, and put it to his mouth. So dito po mga kapatid, makikita natin that John mentioned clearly one of the reasons why Jesus uttered the words, I thirst. And it was to fulfill what was written in the scripture. At ano po ba yung scripture na yon? In Psalm 69, it is written, Scorn has broken my heart and has left me helpless. I looked for sympathy, but there was none, for comforters, but I found none. They put gall in my food and gave me vinegar for my thirst. Yung verse 21 ay makikita natin, this is a very verse that came to fulfillment when Jesus was on the cross. Because when he said, I thirst, I am thirsty, the soldiers put a sponge and nilagay po yun sa isang bench ng hyssop at pininom siya nung sour wine or wine vinegar. At alam niyo po mga kapatid, it is very important for Old Testament prophecies to be fulfilled in the NT. Kaya po ang mga NT writers, kung mapupunan natin, they were very discerning which prophecies from the OT and even Jesus himself. They were very discerning which OT prophecies were being fulfilled during the time of our Lord Jesus, sapagkat kailangan po nilang may pakita, kailangan po nilang ma-validate, may pakita sa mga Israelites during their time that the Old Testament was actually pointing to Jesus, and that Jesus himself said, He came not to abrogate the law, but to fulfill the law. Kaya po, ito pong prophecy sa Psalm 69 that he was given vinegar for drink. Ito po parang napakasimple lamang that he was thirsty, and then the Roman soldiers gave him that wine to drink. Para pong simple lang, but actually it had a very important function in the overall scheme of things of seeing which prophecies were being fulfilled to validate and to establish the authority of Jesus as a Son of God. At ito po ang maganda mga kapatid. Yun pong wine vinegar that was given to Jesus, it was called Posca. And, it was a very healthy drink. Actually, hindi po ito yung masamang inumin na kumbaga parang kinawawa ang ating Panginoong Jesus. No. It was actually, if we will look at the context of it, hindi man po normal for soldiers to give wine or to give something that would refresh criminals. Ang gusto nga po nila ay lalong mahirapan ang mga kriminal, hindi po ba? But in giving Jesus that wine, we can say na maari po, because we know that at the end of the ordeal, some of the soldiers would say that he is truly the Son of God. Maari pong dito pa lamang at this stage, some of them are already feeling that kind of perception or perspective na nakikita nilang kakaiba ang criminal na ito. Kung kaya those soldiers they tended or they gave Jesus that wine to drink. But ang hindi rin po nila alam is that by putting the sponge on a branch of hyssop, ang hindi po nila alam is that they were also fulfilling something that was prefigured. Kumbaga po ay may connection din doon sa Old Testament, and that was the Passover that happened during the time of Moses when Yahweh instructed them to put blood on their doorposts so that the angel of death would pass over their houses. And alam po natin that because of this Passover event, of that angel of death claiming the lives of the firstborn of the Egyptians, the Israelites were freed from bondage and they were able to cross the Red Sea and eventually to enter the Promised Land. At ganito rin po ang picture na makikita natin when the Roman soldiers put the wine on that branch of hyssop, but at this time, it was actually the new, kumbaga po, it was the Passover lamb that was hanging on the cross ang siyang binibigyan nila ng wine to drink. Kaya po kung makikita natin, the Roman soldiers may not have, of course, they would not have any idea, but they were already playing a part in what God was intending, and that was for Jesus to be recognized as the new Lamb of the Passover, and he would be setting, or he would be giving a new kind of liberation to Israel and to all those who would believe in him, the Gentiles, you and I, kasama po doon. Because by believing in him, by the blood that Jesus shed on the cross, we would be saved. Now, another thing, of course, because we want to understand what happened, ano po yung significance ng sinabi ng Panginoon that he was thirsty. Now, you see, during the time of John, who's of course the writer who wrote the fifth expression of Jesus on the cross, a heresy was already spreading in the Roman Empire, and it was called Gnosticism. At ang Gnosticism po ay they taught a dualistic worldview, a worldview that that saw the material world as evil. Only the spirit is a holy or sacred. Eventually, and they looked at Jesus, at the flesh of Jesus, not as something that was real. Kumbaga, peke lamang daw po ang pagkakatawang tao ng ating Panginoong Jesus. He only appeared to be man or to take on human flesh, but it was only an illusion. At doon po sa ating mga New Testament writers, napakalaking heresy po nito. It was a grave heresy, so that John, in 2 John chapter 1 verse 7, he says, I say this because many deceivers who do not acknowledge Jesus Christ as coming in the flesh have gone out into the world. Any such person is the deceiver and the Antichrist. Those are strong words. Bakit po kaya? Well, allow me to just go to our next slide. In Hebrews 4:15, the writer of Hebrews says, "For we do not have a high priest who is unable to empathize with our weaknesses, but we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet he did not sin." Now, dito po makikita natin, church, mga kapatid, that the function of Jesus as high priest depended in large part or depended primarily on his taking on human flesh, and that is tunay na pagkakatawang tao, hindi po yung magic lamang. It was not an illusion, because if it was an illusion, he could not be our high priest. Yang sabi rito, he was tempted in every way. Because of that, he could empathize with us, with our weaknesses, with all our experiences. And because of that, he is able to be our effective, our perfect high priest. Now, in addition to that, Paul, in Romans 4:25, he writes, "He was delivered over to death for our sins and was raised to life for our justification." Now, church, this is also very crucial, because of Jesus only appeared to take on human flesh na hindi naman po pala tunay na katawang tao, then ang ibig pong sabihin nun, he could not have truly died. And it would follow that he would not also have undergone a genuine resurrection. Kumpletang sinasabi po rito, kung hindi totoo yung katawan ng ating Panginoon, yung illusion lamang, he could not have atoned for our sins and he could not be our justification. Kaya po napakahalaga ito. Napakahalaga po ito sa mga New Testament writers that to establish na ang ating Panginoon, he took on human flesh, he was 100% man, 100% divine, for which reason, of course, it's still a mystery. How could that happen? But the thing is, Jesus' humanity, Jesus' coming into the flesh was real. Yun po ay 100% siyang nagkatawang tao, but of course, he could not deny himself. He was also God at the same time. It's a mystery that only God could do. But what is important here is that when he took on human flesh, it was not simply an illusion, because it was through taking on that flesh that we are redeemed and that we are justified. Okay, let's move on po. Now, another important idea here, when Jesus said, "I thirst," is that recent scholarship has identified the words of Jesus as "I thirst" as, and then yung pong kanyang pag-inom ng sour wine, dun po sa hyssop, many have identified it as Jesus drinking the fourth cup. The fourth cup of the Passover supper or Passover ritual. Kasi po in the Passover ritual or seder, there are 4 cups that need to be drunk. And scholars are in agreement that the cup of blessing that Paul was talking about in 1 Corinthians 10, and also the cup that Jesus offered to his apostles, saying that this is the blood of the new covenant, ito sa third cup. At kung titingnan po natin yung accounts ng Gospels, after drinking the third cup, hindi na po natin makikita during the Last Supper na uminom pa ang ating Panginoon ng fourth cup, which was to be the cup of consummation to complete the Passover ritual. Well, anyway, I just want to present this idea, which is a very insightful idea, that in connecting the drinking of when Jesus drank the sour wine on the cross as being the fourth cup and therefore fulfillment of the Passover ritual. Only In Matthew 26:29, Jesus explicitly said, I tell you, I will not drink from this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. Now, sinasabi po dito ng Panginoon, because in the Passover said there, he was able to drink up to the third cup, but he said he will not drink the fourth cup until that day when he will drink it with us, with the church, in his Father's kingdom. So, to me, it is clear that Jesus was talking about the eschatological kingdom. Because, of course, when Jesus came and when he died on the cross, we are already experiencing, even right now, what we call the already but not yet. Jesus is the partial fulfillment of the kingdom, but this is not yet, we are not yet in the consummation of God's kingdom. It is still in the future when Jesus would come again. So the fourth cup, if we would connecting the Passover cups with Jesus's action on the cross and drinking the sour wine, that must, in my view, it's not yet the Passover. That's not yet the consummation or the cup of consummation. Because the cup of consummation, as Jesus said, would be drank by Him with us in the eschaton. Doon po sa pagdating at yung po bang laganap, the absolute fulfillment of His kingdom when He returns again. So that, ang sinasabi po natin dito is that this cup, the fourth cup of consummation of the Passover ritual, is connected with the Messianic banquet. In Revelation 19:7-9, makikita po natin, ang sabi po ng ating Panginoon, let us be glad and rejoice and give Him glory, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and His wife has made herself ready, and to her it was granted to be arrayed in fine linen, clean and bright, for the fine linen in the righteous acts of the saints. Then he said to me, right, blessed are those who are called to the marriage supper of the Lamb. It is here in the Messianic banquet. Therefore, it is something that we look up to, even in the Lord's Supper, when we proclaim the Lord's death until He comes, because we were in the Lord's cup, in the Lord's Supper, when we commemorate Jesus in the Lord's Supper, we're drinking, as it were, the third cup, and still we are proclaiming we are anticipating His return, and in that time we will be joining Him in drinking the cup of consummation. Okay, so let's move on po. Now, still, I think that we could very well connect what Jesus' action on the cross was. What I mean is His drinking of the sour wine, we could connect it with a cup, indeed. At ito po, we can see here in Luke 22:42-44. It says, Jesus here was in Gethsemane, and He says, Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will but yours be done. An angel from heaven appeared to Him and strengthened Him, and being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, and his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. Dito po makikita din natin, Jesus was telling the Father in deep prayer, if it is possible, take this cup from me. What cup was that? Ano po yung cup na sinasabi ng ating Panginoon dito? Sinasabi po dito ay yung cup na kanyang pagdadaanan. It was the cup before Him. He was at Gethsemane at this time, and again, being fully human, not only appearing human. Jesus felt all the pain, the anguish He already foresaw. Nakikita niya how His his beloved disciples would be deserting him. Actually, habang nagpe-pray po siya rito, tulog lamang yung mga disipulo niya na kasama niya. And he knew that they would be running away during that momentous moment, and he would be alone. And he saw that yung cup na kanya pong iinumin would truly be a cup of deep anguish and pain na hindi niya pa po nararanasan in his entire life as a human being. Kung kaya't ang sabi niya rito, may this cup be taken away from me. Ngunit ang sabi ng ating Panginoon, not my will but yours be done. Ito po ay napakahalaga sapagkat dito po sa teksto na ito, sa John 4:34, ang sabi ng ating Panginoon, my food, said Jesus, is to do the will of Him who sent me and to finish His work. And in Matthew 4:4, during the temptation, Jesus answered, he was answering the devil, of course, was tempting him. It is written, man shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. Here, may kita po natin mga kapatid, the entire life of Jesus was geared toward obeying the Father. Kaya po, even at Gethsemane, yung cup na sinasabi niya is about the cup of obeying the Father despite the tremendous hardship na kanyang nakikitang kanyang pagdadaanan, which would even include the Father Himself forsaking Him at the very moment that He was carrying the sins of the world on the cross. That's why in the previous word He cried, my God, why have Thou forsaken me? So, in connection with this, dito po natin makikita na yung cup po ngayon, yung siya ay nasa krus. When he drank, when he said, I thirst, his thirst was not simply a thirst for wine vinegar. He was thirsting to obey the will of the Father. Kahit na po, he just mentioned previously that God had just forsaken him. Still, when he cried, I thirst, it was a thirst for obeying the Father's will. Now, napakaganda po nito to look at the story of the Samaritan woman. Kasi po, when you look at it, there is some similarity with the question that Jesus, with the utterance of Jesus. On the cross, he said, I thirst. He was asking for drink. And similarly, when he was at the well, and he met the Samaritan woman, he said, will you give me a drink? He was saying, in effect, I am thirsty. At alam naman po natin kung paano nangyari itong what happened with this conversation. At alam natin that, how Jesus was not supposed to talk to the Samaritan woman. But anyway, the important thing that I want to point out here is that Jesus first said he was thirsty, just like he was saying on the cross. And then the conversation shifted to Jesus showing or telling the woman about this living water that he could give. So ang sabi niya to the woman, Jesus answered her, if you know the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, he was talking about himself, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water. This is just a wonderful utterance, wonderful statement of Jesus. And on the cross, if we would, kumbaga, we would sort of apply it, extrapolate. Ang sabi po niya dito, I am thirsty. But what he is actually saying too is that if you knew, to everyone, not only to the Roman soldiers who heard him, but of course, the people there also heard him. If they knew who it is that was asking for a drink. They would have asked him because he is the living water. He is God's living water. Kung kaya, there was, napaka-ironic when he asked for a drink, because what was clear, of course, when he was on the cross, was that those authorities, both the Romans and, of course, the Jewish leaders and the masses, the mob, who asked for his crucifixion, it was clear that they did not know Christ. Because if they did, they would have asked him for living water that only he could give. And so, going further to what transpired with the conversation between Jesus and the Samaritan woman, of course, the Samaritan woman was saying that Samaritans, they know God, or at least she was saying that kilala nila ang Diyos and they're worshiping in Mount Gerizim. But Jesus said, yet the time is coming and has now come when the true worshipers will worship the Father in the Spirit and in truth. For they are the kind of worshipers the Father seeks. God is Spirit, and His worshipers must worship Him in the Spirit and in truth. Now, this is very critical, because at this time, when he was talking to the Samaritan woman, he was saying that no external places, whether in Mount Gerizim in Jerusalem, kahit saan, it is not the place that is important, because if you know who God is, you will be able to worship Him in spirit, in truth. That is, not based on external actions, not only in terms of what one thinks is right, hindi lamang po yung sa isip lamang, but Jesus was saying, if we know who God really is, we would worship Him in spirit and in truth. And I think, church, this is what Jesus was saying when he was on the cross and he was thirsting. When he said, I thirst, indeed he was thirsting to follow, to obey God. But at the same time, what he revealed to the Samaritan woman, that God is looking, He is seeking for true worshipers. What Jesus is also saying to us is that He is thirsting for those who will worship Him in spirit and in truth. Nauuhaw ang ating Panginoon, mga kapatid, sa mga tunay na mananampalataya. Hindi lamang po yung mga mananampalataya na biglang mawawala kung nagkaroon na ng paghihirap, at hindi rin po yung tulad ng mga mananampalataya na kapag okay ng lahat, ay bigla na rin nawawala, kumbaga ay biglang iinom na lamang, who will go to other wells to drink and have their drink and forget about the real well of life. Remember the 10 lepers whom Jesus healed. They were calling on Jesus to heal them, and then when they got healed, isa lamang po yung bumalik, and he was a Samaritan. You see, church, if we are to worship Him in spirit and in truth, then we would worship not based on what's happening around us. Of course, this would affect the way we worship. Like right now, sa ngayong situation natin, that, all over the world, there is this virus that's affecting us. As true worshipers, we would of course indeed pray. We would indeed pray for God to intervene. And we would pray. We would ask Him for forgiveness if He finds our church, if He finds His people lacking and deserving to undergo ito pong kahirapan. But you see, what Jesus is saying is that if we are true worshipers in spirit and in truth, whether it be in hardship, whether it be in times of plenty, then we would continue to find Him, to be thirsty for Him, to seek Him. It will not be based on other externals, but those who would know Him would worship Him for who He is. So, church, allow me to read this final verse in Psalm 63, 1-2. David, again, saying to God, "O God, you are my God. I shall seek you earnestly. My soul thirsts for you. My flesh yearns for you in a dry and weary land where there is no water. There I have seen you in the sanctuary, to see you, to see your power and your glory." David is saying, and he's praying to God, in this place, in this desert, Lord, allow me to see you as I see you in the sanctuary. I want to see you in the desert. It doesn't matter kahit nandito ako sa desierto. But Lord, I know, as your true worshiper, I pray, reveal yourself to me. Let this relationship continue, and I will seek you earnestly, daily, early in the morning. From the start of the day, I will seek you. Because I know, David says, that even in this desert place, God can show Himself and could be with us. Because God's presence is not dependent on any external place. It only depends on our willingness to seek Him and to find Him wherever we are. So, church, as Jesus was thirsting to do His will when He cried, "I thirst," He is also thirsting for true worshipers.
Mula taong 1964 hanggang 2014, ang Pastor Cornelio Quezon ay naglingkod sa Diyos ng walang patid. Kaya siya po ay pinarangalan noong 2014 sa kanyang ika-50 taong paglilingkod. Siya po ay ito'y tanda ng kanyang katapatan sa tungkuling tinawag ng Diyos sa kanya. Ang bawat sa po sa atin ay binigyan ng Diyos ng tungkulin na ginagampanan sa kanyang tahanan. Si tatay, bilang haligi ang siyang inaasahan na magiging matatag sa pagtataguyod at mga disposisyon sa loob ng tahanan. Si nanay, bilang ilaw ang may hawak ng kaayusan at kasiyahan ng pamilya. Ang mga anak ang may tungkuling magpasakop at tumulong sa gawain ng magulang habang sila'y nasa poder nito. Ang ika-6 na wika sa krus ay may dalang liwanag sa pagtupad ng tungkulin ng bawat ka-6 ng pamilya. Ang ika-6 na wika mula sa Juan, Kabanatang 11, talatang 30 ay sinabi ng Panginoon, naganap na. Ito ay kapahayagan ng katapatan sa tungkulin ng Panginoong Hesus hanggang sa kamatayan sa krus. Ang wikang nagdadala ng liwanag sa matapat na pagtupad sa tungkulin ng bawat mananampalataya, lalong higit sa isang sambahayang nagsasabing sila'y Kristiyano. Tandaan po natin ngayong hapon ito, ngayong araw na ito. Ang sambahayang Kristiyano ay nagsisilbing tanglaw sa lipunan dahil nakikita ang matapat na pagtupad sa tungkulin ng bawat ka-6 nito. Ang tanong po natin ngayong araw na ito, paano tinupad ng Panginoong Hesus ang kanyang tungkulin? Paano magiging tapat ang bawat sa atin sa loob ng kanyang tahanan? Tayo po sa saglit na manalangin. Aming Diyos, sa hapon po ito, sa araw na ito, dumudulog kami sa iyo at pangunahan mo kami sa pagpakikinig ng iyong salita sa ika-6 na huling wika doon sa krus ng Kalbaryo. Samahan mo kami't mangusap ka sa pangalan ng Panginoong Hesus. Amen. Amen. Ang ika-6 na wika, katapatan sa tungkulin. Dalawang bagay po ang ating titingnan ngayong araw. Ang ika-6 na wika, una, ay kapahayagang bawat isa ay may tungkuling dapat gampanan. Nang sabihin ng Panginoon, naganap na, pinahayag sa atin ngayong hapon, ang bawat sa atin ay may tungkuling dapat gampanan. Ano bang tungkulin ng Panginoong Jesucristo? Marami tayong matutukoy na tungkulin ng Panginoong Jesus sa Biblia. Alang-alang sa pag-aaral, babalikan natin ang matungkulin niya mula sa pagbabalita ng anghel hanggang sa panahon ng kapanganakan ng Panginoong Jesus. Ito po sabi ng mga talata. mula sa Lucas chapter 1 verse 32 to 33, pinahayag doon si Jesus ang walang hanggang hari. Ito ang pahayag ni Anghel Gabriel kay Maria nang kanyang ipaliwanag kung sino ang kanyang ipagdadalang tao. Si Jesus ang hari ng mga hari. Siya ang hari ng bawat taong sasampalataya sa kanya mula pa noon hanggang sa walang hanggan. Pangalawa, si Jesus ang tagapagligtas ng sanlibutan. Binalita ng anghel kay Jose ang tungkuling ito sa mga sandaling binalak niyang iwanan si Maria dahil sa balitang nagdadalang tao ito. Ang sinabi ng anghel ang pumigil kay Jose. Sa Mateo 1:20-21, ang sinabi sa kanya, ang Panginoong Jesus ang siyang nagsabi, ang anak ng tao ay naparito upang hanapin at iligtas ang naligaw. Kaya itong sabi yung balak ni Jose na iwan si Maria, ay napigilan sa pakipag-usap sa kanya ng anghel. Si Jesus ang Kristong Panginoon. Pinanganak na ang Panginoong Jesus sa sabsaban. Nung siya po'y panganak, ang mga pastol ay nasa parang habang abala ang karamihan sa pagpapadala. Binalita ng anghel sa mga pastol ang tungkuling ito na siya rin naman binalita ng pastol kay Jose at Maria nang matagpuan nila ang sabsaban. Matatagpuan po natin sa Lucas chapter 2 verse 10-11. Si Jesus ang Kristo, ang pinahiran ng langis, siya po yung anointed one na tinatawag. At wala ng iba pang Panginoon maliban sa hiniran ng Diyos ang Kristo. Ang sabi ng Panginoon sa Kristo, naganap na. Ibig sabihin po nun, mission accomplished. Bayad na. Natapos ko na. Ipinapahayag ng Panginoong Yesus na siya ay may tungkuling ginampanan at nagampanan. Yung binanggit po natin kanina, na siya po ang walang hanggang hari, siya ang tagapagligtas, siya ang Kristong Panginoon, ay kanyang ginampanan. Ang ika-6 na huling wika sa krus, tandaan po natin ito, ay tanglaw sa tungkulin ng bawat ka-6 ng sambahayan. Nililiwanag ng wikang ito ng Panginoong Yesus na kung paano siya ay may tungkuling dapat gampanan. Gayon din naman ang kanyang mga alagad. Kaya tayo po, kung bakit sa ka-6 ng sambahayan ay mananampalataya, dapat maging malinaw sa kanya ang tungkuling nakaatang sa kaniyang balikat. Sa unang pag-aaral po natin mula sa salitang naganap na, ay nagpapahayag sa ating bawat isa ay may tungkuling dapat gampanan. Ikalawa, ang ika-6 na wika ay kapahayagang bawat tungkulin ay matapat na gampanan. Paano naging tapat ang Panginoon Jesus sa kanyang tungkulin? Yun po ang tingnan natin ngayong araw na ito. Ang katapatan marahil ay nasusukat sa haba ng paglilingkod. Sinasabi na loyalty. At kung nakahanda na itong gampanan, kahit kapalit nito'y sariling buhay. Ang 3 taong ministeryo ng Panginoong Yesus, tingnan po natin, ay 3 taong mahabang mga araw ng paglilingkod. Nangaral po siya saan mang dako, sa abutin, nagpagaling ng may karamdaman, nasa daan man, o hanggang sa loob ng tahanan. Siya'y gumawa ng himala, sa dagat man, o sa ilang. Nagpahayag ng pagpapatawad sa kasalanan at kaligtasan sa mga tao nakita niya ang tunay ng pananampalataya. Kasama pa doon, nagpalaya siya ng mga demonyo sa mga taong inaalihan ito. Lahat ng ito, tingnan po natin, ay matapat na ginampanan ng Panginoong Yesus. Matapat dahil ginampanan niya ang kanyang tungkulin hanggang sa kamatayan sa krus ng Kalbaryo. Sinabi niya siya na parito upang ialay ang kanyang buhay sa ikatutubos ng marami. Mula sa Mateo 20:28. Ginampanan niya ang tungkuling ito at nagpakumbaba. Nagpakumbaba siya at naging masunurin hanggang kamatayan. Baging ito man ay kamatayan sa krus. Mula po sa Pilipos 2:8. Ang ika-6 na huling 7 wika ng Panginoong Yesus sa krus ay tanglaw sa matapat na pagtupad ng tungkulin ng bawat mananampalataya. Nililiwanag tayo ng Panginoon ngayon. Tinatanglawan niya tayo una sa loob ng ating mga tahanan. Kung ikaw ay ama, tinatanglawan ka ng Panginoon sa tungkulin mo bilang ama. Kung ikaw ay ina o nanay, tinatanglawan ka ngayon ng Panginoon sa iyong tungkulin bilang nanay. Kung ikaw ay anak sa loob ng tahanan, tinatanglawan ka ng Panginoon sa tungkulin mong pinagkaloob ng Diyos sa iyo. na kung na parang masabi natin, naganap na, natapos ko na, mission accomplished. Ang salitang, ang ika-anim na wika na sinabi ng Panginoon sa krus ng Kalbaryo, naganap na. Yun ay kapahayagan, ang Panginoon ay naganap na ang kanyang tungkulin at ang kanyang tungkulin ito'y matapat niyang ginampanan sa panahong siya po ay naglingkod sa sangkatauhan. Sa pagtatapos po natin, tandaan po natin ito. Bawat sa atin ay may tungkulin. Si tatay, mahalin si nanay. Si nanay naman, pasakop kay tatay. Ang mga anak, igalang at sundin ang mga magulang. Ang mga magulang, hubugin sa aral ng Panginoon at huwag ibuyo sa paghimagsik ang mga anak. Ang mga kasambahay, bahagi kayo ng tahanan. Gumawa na parang sa Panginoon kayo gumagawa. Sa lahat ng ito, tungkulin ng bawat kaanin ng isang pamilya ang magpasakop sa isa't isa. Ang pagpapakumbaba ay napakahalagang pag-uugali sa loob ng tahanan. Hindi lang ating tungkulin, maging matapat sa tungkulin. Tularan natin ang Panginoon Yesus. Nang sabihin niyang naganap na, isipin natin, hindi man naging madali yung tungkulin ginampanan niya sa krus ng Kalbaryo. Mahirap po yun. Pero ang katapatan niya sa tungkulin bilang haring walang hanggan, bilang tagapagligtas ng sanlibutan, bilang Kristong Panginoon, ay ginampanan niya. Tayo man ay inaasahan ng Panginoon na matapat nating gagampanan ang ating tungkulin na sasabi nating naganap ko na, natapos ko na. Nawa po, maluwalhati ang Diyos sa ating mga buhay at sa tuwing matatapos natin isang tungkulin, sasabihin natin, Panginoon, naganap na. Ang ika-anim na wika ng Panginoon sa krus ng Kalbaryo, naganap na. Pagpalain tayo ng ating Diyos. Ako po si Pastor Jun Lopez, naglilingkod po sa inyo.